We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of His Son Yahushua HaMashiach this day. John 5 and 39. 39. It says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and about verse 16. Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. Let's look at the first thing that he states. He said, moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in my heart, Elohim shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. So let's sit back and look at something, right? This man says that he sees a place, saw under the sun the place of judgment, and he say the righteous and the wicked was there. And when we look at that place, it is Makom. It's a standing place, a post, an office, a place of human abode, a city, a land, or a region. And he said he saw that wickedness was there. And this is guilt. Wickedness is violence of a crime, basically of enemies, and that word is Rasha. And then he saw him say the place of righteousness, and you should know the word righteousness is Sadat, and that iniquity was there. So in the same place, he's saying that Elohim will judge the righteous and the wicked, for there's a time for both. Let's look at something first. Malachi 3 and 14. I think we talked about this briefly. What you seeing? Before we even look at Malachi 3:14, let's go to the law. Genesis chapter 3. Let's go to the law. Since we're sitting there looking at that, means we have to show a separation. And then end up taking this separation is why you will see why men have respective persons. Because a lot of men have respective persons. And it's a disgusting and vile thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at something. I'm looking for something that I was asked to do. There we go. Genesis chapter 3, what it is, by verse 14, and after that 1 Kings chapter 12. When you look at something, right, before we get to 1 Kings chapter 12, we'll go to Genesis 3, then Malachi 3, and then what was in my brain? Micah chapter 7. Yeah, Micah chapter 7. Genesis chapter 3, what it is. Verse 14, we'll look at 13 though. And Yahuwah Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahuwah Elohim said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee, so you got to mute your phone, and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Enmity, he's going to put hatred between the two seeds. This is what he's telling you. We'll pull the word up for it, just to do it, but he's telling you there's going to be enmity. He told you that wickedness and righteousness would be in the same place, and that he know that Elohim going to judge them both. That word enmity is a va, and the word is simply hatred. There's going to be a hatred between the woman's seed and the serpent seed, which meaning there's going to be a division. This man said clearly he saw under the sun a place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Hold on. Something just come to my mind as I sit back and look at this. So boom, yeah. Praise the Lamb. Malachi chapter 3. I see how it works. We have to reconcile how is wickedness and righteousness going to be in the same city? How is iniquity going to be in the same city? This man said he saw under the sun the place of judgment, and that wickedness was there, and that the place of righteousness and iniquity was there. Anybody have any idea what is this place of righteousness? If the word is makom, and it's a place, a locality, a spot, a city, a land, or a region, or a place of human abode, or even a standing place. What is this place of judgment? That iniquity, wickedness, and the place, or what is this place of righteousness? That wickedness and iniquity is there. And the Elohim say he gonna judge the righteous and the wicked. There's a time and purpose for every word. Malachi 3 and 13, while you ponder on it. Malachi 3 and 13, it says this. Your words have been stout against me, saith Yahuwah. Yet ye say, what have we spoken so much against thee? You have said it is vain to serve Elohim. You still got to mute your phone because that junk backfeed. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahuwah of hosts? And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up, and they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Pause, because I wanted to hit this Wednesday, and I didn't hit this Wednesday. He said, those that tempt Elohim are even delivered, and the proud are called blessed. Let's look at something. And Ezekiel chapter 13. So I'm going to show you something about respected persons and wicked bastards. People who have not been sent, that promise people things that they ought not be promising them. Now it's going to be mentioning a woman. But don't let that deter you, because a man can fit in this too. Don't let that deter you, because it's mentioning a woman. Ezekiel chapter 13. Ezekiel chapter 13. I'll start at 10. It's a lot. I'm going to work my way around. Still hold Malachi chapter 3. Hold Micah chapter 7. And we're going to reconcile all this stuff most high willing before we depart. Because we still got some stuff. You know, you got to grab you some Proverbs, because we got a couple things in Proverbs dealing with respect to persons. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and grab you Proverbs chapter 24, Proverbs chapter 28, and Proverbs chapter 18. Get you Proverbs 18, 24, and 28, Micah 7, and yeah, I think that's it. Oh yeah, and 1 Kings chapter 12. We're trying to hit three different things. What are the three different things we're going to hit? People who lie to people to make the wicked think that they going to be straight and they not going to be straight. We're going to be looking at is how it's not good to have respective persons. And we're going to determine where this place of righteousness is, where wickedness and iniquity are, and how these people are judged. And there's a time and purpose for the judgment when he judged the righteous and the wicked. Nevertheless, Malachi 3 and 14 I just mentioned, and then I just told you to go somewhere else. And that was Ezekiel 13, and I lost my page. 13 and 10. He said, because, make it verse 8. Matter of fact, we'll just work our way around. I got to hit all of it. 13 and 1. I ain't even going to play with it. And the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophecy against the prophets of Yasharal that prophecy, and say unto them that prophecy out of their own hearts, hear ye the word of Yahuwah. So now you're talking about, now we know the testimony of Yahushua is the Ruach of prophecy. Now we also know that a prophet is a man who Yah visits in a vision and a dream, and this is how you validate who's a prophet. This man is speaking about people, you know, Deuteronomy 13. If a man states a prophecy, don't come to pass, you should not fear him. That's not the word that Yah has spoken. Actually, my apologies, Deuteronomy 18, as well as Deuteronomy 13. So he's saying that these men are basically preaching or speaking a word out of their own mind. Yah didn't give them that word. In Jeremiah 23, he said if they would have sat down and perceived my word, they would have turned everyone from their evil or wicked way. Because he said they have ran, but I have not sent them. And they have spoken, yet they prophesied, but I have not spoken. So he's talking about people who are going to the people, but he ain't gave them no word. He says, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, destruction or woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own ruach and have seen nothing. So now he's talking about men who follow their own heart, their own mind, their own breath, and he ain't gave them nothing. Let's see if I can see what the word is for that. See, I meant to pull this out Wednesday, but not the whole chapter. But considering what we about to deal with, I got to pull the whole chapter. Just dealing with that Ecclesiastes 3 and the things that were mentioned. Because that's what go on amongst our people right now. Now, y'all know the word foolish. That's Nabal. Y'all know who Nabal is. His heart is folly, and folly is with him. Folly is with him. Let me see something. Okay, we good. O Yasharal, thy prophets are like the foxes in the deserts. You have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge for the house of Yasharal to stand in the battle in the day of Yahuwah. Now this man said these men have not standed in the gap. That's why the master said in John 10, everyone that came before me was a thief and a robber. Now we'll look at when he meant the Hebrew word for gaps, because I know why I want to go in the New Testament for this here in one of these epistle letters. He said they ain't stood in the gaps. The gaps is the parets. It's a busting forth or a breach or a broken wall. So let's hold this as Ezekiel 13. We'll come right back. Let's look at 2 Corinthians chapter 2, chapter 5, and then 1 Corinthians, Romans chapter 3, because that's what a preacher's supposed to do. He's saying these prophets are supposed to stand in the gap and to close up the breach. What has caused the breach? Isaiah 58 tell you what caused the breach. Sin has caused the breach. This is why in Lamentations of Jeremiah, and I'll pull it. You ain't got to go get it. I just tell you where it is, and you go read it on your own time. You write it down. You still swing around to the 2 Corinthians chapter 5 about verse 16, actually about verse 19. As I grab this Lamentation of Jeremiah, I want to say it's verse 14. It is verse 14. Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee. They have not discovered thy iniquity to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. Because verse 13 say, what thing shall I take to witness of thee? What thing shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great like the sea. Who can heal thee? This is where Hamashiach come in at. Because who else going to be able to close up this breach? Now he's sending men to close up the breach, and these men are not closing up the breach because they prophesying vain things out of their own heart, following their own ruach. They ain't seen nothing. Because there's a place of righteousness where iniquity is there and wickedness is there. And there's a time and purpose for everything where he going to judge the righteous and the wicked. But you got the wicked running around here saying it's a vain thing to serve y'all, and now the proud are saying that they're blessed, and that men are sitting back, setting themselves up, living wickedly. Why? Because people got respected persons. Nobody's going to stand in front of the people and tell them you are wicked. Your ways are wicked. This is how I know that men would kill the prophets just like they did back then. I'm talking about people living now. Because you don't want to hear that. Just like he said in Isaiah, this is a rebellious people who will not hear the word of Yah, who say, don't prophesy unto us right things, tell us smooth things, tell me lies. I sit back and watch niggas argue and debate about every and anything. Don't nobody argue and debate about the wickedness that men do. Arguing about doctrinal matters. That stuff don't make no difference when you wicked and you evil. When you're evil, what good did that do you when you're evil on the inside? I see immature men. I see immature women. I'm talking about not even spiritually immature, just mentally and emotionally immature. And then they seek comfort in the flesh. You don't see men and women that are willing to do work to work out matters, that they have issues with anybody. They act like cowards and shrink. They shrink away from confrontation. Confrontation is an inevitable thing when you're dealing with the word of Yahuwah. You know, I cram across them. A lot of times if I share a meme, that really just be in my memories. And I just redo it. I just reshare it instead of hitting the share button and it say it's in my memories. That's really what I be doing, right? And I ran across one where it say the gospel is a confrontational message. And it is. Because it's got to cause you to confront you. Your iniquities, your sins, your flesh, your wicked and vile mind, your heart of stone. It's going to cause you to have to confront that. And most people don't want to say anything to cause you to confront that, because then it's going to force you to change. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to have to force them to change, because they would have had to change before they could even confront you with that message. And that's why niggas don't spit it. That's why they don't spit it, because they don't want to look in the mirror and see something that they don't want to see, is that they are vile, filthy, and unclean, and they must wash themselves. But niggas just want to front. That junk is disgusting and despicable, and it's been going on the whole 8 years I've been doing it, which means nobody really cares about anybody's soul. Nobody cares about nobody's soul, period. Can't care about it. Because you want niggas to talk to you smooth. You want niggas to pat you on your booty. You want niggas to pat you on your head and tell you you're going to be all right. And that's how you go to hell. Because the prophets have not found the reasons for the cause of your banishment. And they're prophesying vain things to you. And they can't get your iniquity off of you. And they can't get the breach closed. And niggas like it that way. And I don't understand why you following this if you don't want to live it. Just put it down and do what you want to do. Because that's what you're doing anyway. That's what you're doing anyway. Why do something if you ain't going to get to reap the benefits of it because you halfway doing it? I wasn't raised to halfway do nothing. If you gave, now of course I can't say that with the word because that wouldn't be accurate. But if you gave your best effort in anything you did, you gave everything you had to give, you did the best according to the ability that you possess. Now of course you can't do that with the word. You got to hold it down. But we're just speaking naturally. I could never be mad at you if you came up short or if you didn't win because you did the best you could do with what you had. You executed according to the ability that you possess. Now you have the ability to possess spiritually to reign and discipline your flesh to the obedience of the word by believing in it. And if you don't do it, it's because you did not give your all. You did not give your best. You halfway did it. You thought you could skate by and you not gonna skate by. This man's know if you giving halfway effort. Most of y'all could be a lot further along if your effort matched what you say out your mouth. If you want the success, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort. You will achieve it. But niggas like smooth things. Niggas like lies. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care who don't like it. It is what it is. Nigga can't tell me different because I'm watching it every day. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Verse, what did I say? 19? Make it 18. 17, matter of fact. Therefore, if any man be in Mashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things have become new. All things are of Elohim, who have reconciled us to himself by Yahushua HaMashiach, and have given to us this ministry of reconciliation. To wit, that Elohim was in Mashiach, reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and have committed unto us the word of reconciliation. Now then we are the ambassadors for Mashiach, as though Elohim did beseech you by us. We pray you in Mashiach's stead, be ye reconciled to Elohim. So we're going back around here to Ezekiel 13. So a minister of Mashiach, an ambassador, because an ambassador is someone who is sent with conditions of peace or things to come up to work out an agreement. The first thing the masters preached when he began to preach was repent. The kingdom of Shamahim is at hand. He said, who receive whomsoever I send, receive me. Whosoever receive me, receive him that sent me. Because he says the priest has the law in his mouth. He's the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. And the people should seek the Torah at his mouth. If you seeking the word from somebody he ain't sent, you seeking death because y'all ain't with it. He said, how beautiful are upon the mountains are the feet of them that preach the Besorah of Shalom. That means these men would be preaching you to destroy the authority attached to chaos, which is to crucify your mortal body with Yahushua HaMashiach and to destroy the body of sin. Bottom line, you supposed to be destroyed. When he sit back and he tells you that the Besorah of Shalom, and Shalom is to destroy the authority attached to chaos. Hamashiach destroyed the authority attached to chaos because he took up his stake and died. He told you, take up your stake and follow him. So if they're not teaching you to crucify your mortal body and to die to sin and to point out that sin is death so you don't be banished, he ain't son them, they a liar. They going to hell, and like Ezekiel 14 say, if you seek after him, you going to get the same reward that nigga going to get. So that's very, very important to your soul. You just don't listen to any and everybody. We'll read that Ezekiel 14 since we right here by, so you just don't think that I'm talking. 14 and 6. Therefore say unto the house of Yasharal, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, repent and turn yourselves from your idols. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, repent and turn yourselves from your idols. Turn away your faces from all your abominations. For every one of the house of Yasharal, or of the stranger that sojourner Yasharal, that goes back to what we were talking about on Wednesday with respect to persons, will separate himself from me and set up idols in his heart and put the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face and come to a prophet to inquire of him concerning me. I, Yahuwah, will answer him by myself. And I will set my face against that man, and will make him a sign and a proverb, and I will cut him off from the midst of my people, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah. And if the prophet be deceived when he has spoken a thing, I Yahuwah have deceived that prophet, and I will stretch out my hand upon him, and will destroy him from the midst of my people Yasharal. And they shall bear the punishment of their iniquity. The punishment of the prophet shall be even as the punishment of him that seek unto him. Now you can take that and do with it what you will. You heard what the man said. It is what it is. Ezekiel 13. Listen to what this man sit back and he finna tell you in verse 4. This man said they ain't gone up in the gaps to reconcile you. Let me get that Romans 3. You got to mute that phone though. Let me get that Romans 3. Talking about this reconciliation. That's what anybody preaching. See, I'm gonna tell y'all something, right? And I told y'all this so many times. You got folks so caught up in us identifying a Mashiach that you forgot that identifying a Mashiach was to show you what to do with your mortal body to destroy sin, so you could become like him, so you could receive the reward to close up the breach. But you just took it as he just throwing info out here. Knowledge. It had nothing to do with that. That's a stumbling block for some people. You got caught up on that. That's not what it's about. It's about putting away sin. That's what it's about. It ain't about nothing other than that in faith. Because if you believe that this man died and rose from the dead, then you would die with him and put away the body of sin and live under righteousness through Yahushua HaMashiach, through the Ruach. That's what you'll do. But instead, what do niggas do? Enable, lie, cheat, steal, sin, and in the end, they gonna burn. Romans 3. Yeah, Romans chapter 3. And, yeah, I'll say about verse 21, I want to say. Yeah, nah. About verse 11. I'll make it 10. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understand, there is none that seek Elohim. Hold on. I got you, man. There is none that seek Elohim. Hold on. There's none that seek after Elohim. They are all gone out of the way. They are altogether become unprofitable. There is none that do good, no, not one. Their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of shalom they have not known. They say they haven't known how to destroy the body of sin. That's why he say, my people, you have not known me, because there is no iniquity with Elohim. And the people not coming to the prophets because the prophets are exposing what their wickedness is, and the people don't want to destroy it. You know, it's a lot easier to hear a message that is not challenging to your flesh, to cause you to mortify it. It's a lot easier to hear someone preach to your sensibilities and your emotions. Preach to your flesh. Have you having a desire to always remain in the same state and to make excuses for not rendering yourself over to him who has died for you and lived for him. Paul wrote in his epistle letter. It's the same thing that the master spoke through the prophet Yeshayahu in Isaiah 26:19. Thy dead men shall live with my dead body. Yeah, we can look at that through the resurrection of the dead, but you also have to look at it as what Paul stated in 2 Corinthians 5. We have thus judged that if one died, then we're all dead, and that we should no longer live our lives to ourselves, but to him who died and rose again. So if your dead bodies is living with his dead body, then you have mortified your members and live with him through righteousness. But we don't want to do that. I know niggas sit and will tell a nigga a bold-faced lie and stand in front of people and say he righteous. That's wicked. Niggas do it every day. I just seen a nigga say if he baptized your wife, he taking your wife with him. That's what a nigga just said. With a straight face. I don't understand it. Niggas sleeping with niggas' wives. You know what I'm saying? Niggas have no problems with this. People have no problem stealing from people. They don't have no problem hating people in their heart. People won't correct nobody. You know what I'm saying? Everything is respected persons. Everything. Because niggas correct who they want to correct. They shoot shots at who they want to shoot shots at. Ain't nobody going to stand up in the gap and say, you're going to hell. Change your ways. He said the temple of Yahuwah, is this. Hush, hush, hush. He said, amend your ways and do good and not evil. Y'all have mercy. We don't need to sit back. I'll finish the rest of it. There is no fear of Elohim before their eyes. Now we know that what things soever the Torah saith, it saith to them who are under the Torah, that every mouth may be stopped, and the whole world may become guilty before Elohim. Therefore by the deeds of the Torah shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by the Torah is the knowledge of sin. But now the righteousness of Elohim without the Torah is manifested, being witnessed by the Torah and the prophets. The righteousness of Elohim is the faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. Although it wasn't written outright in the Torah and the prophets bear witness to the salvation that was going to come through this man if you believed on him. And if you believed on him, then you would have died with him, because that's what the Torah and the prophets testified of the whole time. Niggas ain't dying though. They not dying though. They still alive and kicking, breathing well. Nevertheless, back to Ezekiel 13. You look at verse 5 again. You have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge for the house of Yasharal to stand in the battle in the day of Yahuwah. They have seen vanity and lying divinations, saying, Yahuwah saith, and Yahuwah have not sent them. They have made others to hope that they would confirm the word. Have you not seen a vain vision? Have you not spoken a lying divination? Whereas ye say, Yahuwah saith it, howbeit I have not spoken. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, because you have spoken vanity and seen lies. Therefore, behold, I am against you, saith Yahuwah Elohim. And my hand shall be upon the prophets that see vanity and that divine lies. They shall not be in the assembly of my people. Neither shall they be written in the writing of the house of Yasharal. Neither shall they enter into the land of Yasharal. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah Elohim. That man just said their name's not going to enter into the book of life. Let's look and see something. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. Their names won't get in the book of life. Hello? Hello? Hold on. Hello? 2 Peter 2 and 1. He said their name won't get in the Lamb Book of Life now. It's not going to make it. That's what he said. Check it. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the master that bought them. My apologies. So you'll have people that come in and will deny Yahuwah B'Hashem Yahushua, the man who purchased you with his own blood. I done told y'all that before. I done told y'all that last week. This man bought you with his own blood. That means your black behind belongs to him. Hello?
Shalom.
Shalom. Your black behind belongs to him. I seen somebody say, hey man, it's not a great falling away, it's a great awakening. You ain't awoke to nothing but going to hell. That's it. All these people you seeing rebelling against Mashiach ain't nothing but what's in 1 Kings. That's what you seeing. Niggas, because even if they ain't been rebelling against Mashiach, they been rebelling against Mashiach because they rebelling against righteousness. They rebelling against being Kadesh. Niggas rebelling against not sinning. A nigga can't open his mouth and say nothing if the nigga enjoy committing sin. How can you say anything? You can't reprove nobody. You got to reprove yourself first. That man say, how you going to sit back and boast in the law? He say you hate idols? Do you commit sacrilege? Do you say thou shalt not steal? Nigga, do you steal? So through your boasting in the law, you blaspheme the name of your Elohim. Niggas don't even consider that. They don't even consider that. That means you done took this man's name in vain. This man not going to hold you guiltless for that. You done made the man's name worthless. We don't consider none of that, and nothing we do. Are you making this man's name worthless? That man say he's not going to hold you not guilty for that. So that's why he telling these prophets who done prophesy a lie out of their own heart, who done spoken, he ain't spoken, who ran and he ain't son them. He said their name not going to be written in the book of life. That's why that's a hard sentence when he tell you, if you seek unto a false prophet, I'm going to punish you like I'm going to punish that false prophet. His name ain't getting in the book of life, so nigga, your name ain't getting in there. And you gonna listen to this nigga. That's retarded. A nigga will point out and say, I won't listen to TD Jakes, I won't listen to Creflo Dollar, and listen to a Hebrew preacher he know false. And spit the same crap a Christian person to say, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. It do got something to do with you, nigga, if you know he's sour. That's what the book say. We just read that Wednesday. They make you out to be 2-4-fold more the child of hell than they is. And you think you gonna skate by? That's retarded. I don't know why we think we the generation that everything your ancestors did, you won't do it. You will do it if you don't learn from their mistakes and don't make them. 2 Peter 2:1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the master that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. Now let me pull that word up real fast, pernicious, just to see what it means in the Greek. Because see, guess what, right? Many people follow after lies because it's better to follow after lies. It's easier. I don't say better, it's easier. People like what's easy. They don't like what's hard. That Greek word for pernicious is destroying and utter destruction and ruin. That's just what we read in Lamentations 2. They're not finding the cause to turn away your banishment. So many people are going to follow after their destructive ways. Their destructive ways is to take you to hell because they're speaking their own words. The man ain't son them. And all this is going back to the enmity between the serpent seed and the woman seed, the hatred, the division, the separation between the two. You can't tell me you believe this book when he say there's wheat and tares and think everybody gonna come together. That's retarded. That man say that the enemy sowed the seed and the Son of Man sowed the seed. So that means it's two different sets of people walking the earth. And you think they gonna meet in agreement? Now you calling the book a lie. But niggas don't believe me. Ain't no way in the world you gonna tell me you are Yahuwah seed and you got love for the serpent seed. How? How's that possible? There's supposed to be an enmity, a hatred, a separation between the two. I don't care if they walk in the word or they don't. Ain't no way you can cleave to that and say you are the woman's seed. Ain't no way. Because that's what the Torah say. That means that's an envisioning to a prophetic thing later on down the line. That means he that sanctified, he has sanctified all of one, for which cause he's not ashamed to call them brethren. How this man gonna call you your brother, you his brother, and you cleaving to people who his enemy? That don't make common sense. But we believe that though, because we want to believe that, because we want to do what we want to do. And we want to be who we want to be, and we want to hang with who we want to hang with. And you're going to get destroyed with them. That man's clear on that. Those are painfully obvious truths that must be reconciled in your mind. Or what are you going to do? Because this about your soul. It ain't about nothing else. It ain't about nobody telling you what to do. It ain't about nobody telling you who to be with. This is about your soul. How important is the salvation of your soul to you? Because this man wants to save your soul beyond all things that you can even comprehend. He says his Father good pleasure to give you the kingdom. That he has no pleasure in the death of him that died, but to repent and live. That's all he wants you to do, is save your soul. And we don't even want to do that. We want the benefits of the kingdom without doing the things that's required to get into it. How you expect to receive that? How do you expect that? You know what I'm saying? You can't knowledge your way in this man place. You can't fake love your way in this man place. You can't fake set apart your way in here. You got to be about it, or he gonna tell you, get away from me, you work of iniquity, I never knew you. But we prophesied in the streets in your name and did many good works in your name. Nigga, I don't know you. Stop knocking on my door. That's what you gonna hear. For playing. For playing. If you're gonna be all in, be all in. If you're gonna pump fake, put the book down and live your life. Because you ain't going, if you're not going to get no reward, why play with it? Just do what you want to do completely. Don't do what you want to do when somebody ain't looking who going to tell you you're wrong. Just live how you want to live. Don't play with it. If you're going after the reward, then buckle yourself down. Put your head to your nose to the grindstone and get that work in and put in that work and do what you got to do. Don't do it when you feel like doing it, because that means you're not committed. That means it's not a priority. If it's a priority to you, you're going to get it done. Get it done. He say, he that is diligent in his labor shall stand with kings. We're not going to stand with the King of Kings if we're not diligent with our labor, if we playing games. You're not going to stand with him if you're not serious about your work. And if you're not serious about your work, it's going to spill over into everything that you do. You ain't going to be serious about your natural work. You ain't going to be serious about your marriage. You're not going to be serious with your raising your children. You're not going to be serious about nothing you're doing if you ain't diligent and serious about saving your soul. Verse 2 though. Verse 3 though. And through covenant shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingered not, and their damnation slumbered not. And that's what he's telling you in Ezekiel 13. That hellfire is not sleeping. It's waiting on them because they are not getting this banishment up off of you. The whole objective is to get sin up off of you. That's the whole objective. You know, we can have our undivided attention for everything except Yah's word. We don't never have our undivided attention for that. Why is that? Why do we allow anything, the cares and affairs of this life, the distractions of the adversary, the distractions of people deter us from the only thing that truly matters, which is the word of the living Elohim, who created Shamahim and Arats. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. Why are we to allow things of no consequence and no bearing whatsoever distract us from saving our soul? Why? Why does that happen? Because ain't nothing can't be more important than saving your soul. You can't tell me nothing on this planet that's more important than that. If you can, I'll wait for it. Because what's more important than where your soul gonna rest? Ain't no friends, ain't no social media, ain't no book, ain't no family, ain't no television, ain't nothing going on more important than that. Nothing. Not a job, not a business, not nothing. Nothing. But yet everything else seemed to get in the way. How? Why? That means that means when we have to sit back and look at what our actions tactically tell Yahuwah, that you're not important to me. That what you require of me is not at the top of my priority list in my heart. Screw what I tell other people. I'm talking about in my heart, and it manifests in my works. This is not important to me. Because it's not first and foremost in everything that I do. I mean everything. From the most greatest detail to the most minute detail. This is not important to me. And I show this by how I live. By the decisions that I make. By the people that I roll with. That the people that I take counsel from. How could you say you're a person of Yahuwah and take counsel from a sinner? On spiritual matters. I'm talking about strictly spiritual matters. I ain't talking about natural matters. Strictly spiritual matters. A nigga go listen to it. A nigga pull a Jeroboam, go holler at a sinner. How? How? I'm sorry, Rehoboam. How? How? Why? Why do we do that? I don't understand. Ezekiel chapter 13 though. We in verse 10. Bear with me. I got a lot. Y'all with it? I'm going to get it all too. He said, because they have seduced my people, saying shalom, and there was no shalom, and one built up a wall, and lo, others daubed it with untempered mortar. When we look at untempered, this is unseasoned, foolish. The word is to fall. They try to build you a house on sand, a house built on nothing. Because they're seducing you. When we look at seduce, and you can get 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 11. That word for seduced, it doesn't want to cooperate at this present time. It doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. That word is ta, and it is to cause you to go astray or to wander astray. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 11. And that's what a lot of false prophets are coming to do, is to cause you to get astray, to lead you astray. That's what the enemy come to do, to lead you astray, to get you out of the way. Kind of like what we just read in Genesis chapter 3 when he said, woman, what have you done? And she said, the serpent has beguiled me. He's led you astray. 3 and 11, 2 Timothy. Persecutions and afflictions which came unto me at Antioch and Iconium, at Lysteria, were persecutions I endured. But out of them all the Master delivered me. Yea, all that will live godly in Yahushua HaMashiach shall suffer persecution, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Just like we read in Ezekiel 14, he said the prophets have been deceived because he deceived them. And therefore, since the prophets have been deceived, then they going to deceive the people. Just like he deceived the prophets of Ahab, and they deceived Ahab, and Ahab went up and got killed because that was Yahuwah's will for you to die. That was his will. I want him dead. What do I need to do to make sure that this is accomplished? I know what I'll do. I'll send a lion ruach unto all of his prophets, and they'll tell him what he want to hear so I can kill him. Because I've already determined that he should die for his iniquities. Now that's a serious matter. We don't sit back and look at that. He deceived all that man prophet so he could kill him. And the punishment of the prophet going to be the same as him that seek unto him. And if he sent a lion ruach to him and ain't no liar going to dwell in his kingdom, then you know what happened to them prophets. They died with their king. Eventually. They died with Ahab. Eventually. They perished with him. Only one prophet stood in the gap. We read about it in Micaiah. Because remember, Ahab didn't want to hear him because he had respected person. He said, man, tell me what I want to hear. Don't tell me the truth. Micaiah told him what it was. I'm going to tell you what y'all said. Nothing more, nothing less, nigga. People don't like it like that. You know, Eli showed the mind of a man who was righteous. Even when he was being judged and condemned. When Samuel came and told him what the judgment was for his sons doing what he was doing, he didn't strain him. He said, Yahuwah is righteous. Let him do as he said. Matter of fact, let's look at that since I said it. 1 Samuel chapter 2. I want you to see that though. That's what he said when he heard judgment pronounced against him. He ain't kick, scream, and fight and say you evil and this, that, there, and the third. He ain't do none of that. What did we have? 1 Samuel chapter 2. My apologies. It might be chapter 3. It is chapter 3. 1 Samuel 3 and 15. Make it 1 Samuel 3 and 13. Or make it 11. And Yahuwah said to Samuel, behold, I will do a thing in Yasharal, at which both the ears of everyone that hear it shall tingle. And in that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. And when I begin, I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knows. Because his sons made themselves vile and he restrained them not. So that's the thing right there, right? He the priest. He know the sins that these boys are doing and he ain't restraining them. He's not correcting them. He's not rebuking them. That man say, I'm going to punish you for that because you know what these niggas doing and you ain't said nothing about it. You ain't said nothing about it. So now look at this is the key thing. He's talking about he's got direct knowledge of what this nigga's doing. He's not telling them nothing. He said, therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. And Samuel lay unto the morning and opened the doors of the house of Yahuwah. And Samuel feared to show Eli the vision. Eli called Samuel and said, Samuel, my son. And he answered, here am I. And he said, what is the thing that Yahuwah has said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. Elohim do so to thee and more also, if thou hide anything from me of all the things that he said unto thee. And Samuel told him every whit and hid nothing from him. And he said, it is Yahuwah. Let him do what seemed him good. How many people got a mind to sit back and look at? This man just told him, y'all say, man, he gonna kill your whole family and your iniquity will never be purged with sacrifice and offering forever. And Eli say, oh, that's Yahuwah. Let him do what seemed good to him. Most of these niggas gonna be like, he ain't told you that. He ain't told you that. You hating on me. You did that, then the third. You wicked, proud bastard. Accept your judgment for the wickedness you know of and the wickedness you commit. Eli took his punishment like a man. And still gave praise and esteem to the living Elohim by saying, it is Yahuwah. Let him do what seemed good to him. If it's good to him, but that's got to be done in my household, then so be it. I deserve it. I deserve it. Because Yahuwah is righteous. I am not. We don't got that type of mind. That's how you niggas know. That's how you know niggas going to hell. They wanted. You didn't see David do that. He told him the sword always be in your house. The baby gonna die. David took that like a man, accepted his punishment. Yahuwah is good. Let him do what seemed good to him. These niggas gonna kick and scream. Oh, he ain't told you that. I know y'all ain't told you that because I'm righteous. You ain't righteous, nigga, with the wickedness you pulling. Stop lying to yourself. much less the people. Stop lying. How many of y'all really feel like, knowing where you at right now, that you could take that a prophet come tell you that, and that could be your thought process? Oh, it's Yahuwah. Let him do what seemed good to him. You gonna do, some of these niggas gonna do just like what they prophet did. They just like they did the prophet, pick up a rock and hit him in the head with it. Y'all ain't told you that. Y'all ain't told you that. Oh, that's real now. Y'all ain't told you that. I know he ain't told you that. Because, see, I love y'all. Yeah, I was stealing the sacrifices. Yeah, I was hitting holes in the tabernacle. You know what I'm saying? But I know he loves me. Nigga, please. You know what I'm saying? See, he had to hit him with the 70s line. Got to blame it. Nigga, please. You got to sing about that. Somebody lying. Let's finish this Malachi chapter 3. I got to get everything tonight. I ain't even tired today, neither. You caught me while I was fresh. I took a nap today too. I ain't have to stay up all night or get up extra early neither. Yeah. You caught me fresh today, nigga. Malachi 3 and what? 15 we start that. We read verse 15. Then they that feared Yahuwah spake often one to another, and Yahuwah hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahuwah, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith Yahuwah of hosts. And that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spares his own son that servant. Then shall you return and discern, between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serve Elohim and him that serve him not. There has to be a difference between the two. Has to be. Micah chapter 7. And then 1 Kings chapter 12. See, these are things like this here, right? And not to put my Muffin on blast, but Muffin has never liked confrontation since she was a child. She's getting better at it. She just don't like to be in conflicting situations. And that's cool. It's understandable. You have to grow into that. Everybody doesn't just come out the womb with that. I've always had no problem with confrontation. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? I've seen now that my daddy was like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with confrontation. You know what I'm saying? Whether somebody's confronting me with something that I may have done or not done, or me doing the same. If you're going to preach the word, then you cannot have no fear of confrontation. Let me tell you why. Look at Ezekiel chapter 2. Before we read Micah 7. Let me show you why. I want you to see what he told. That's how you know a lot of people ain't been sent to preach, because they fear confrontation. They're enablers. I just had a conversation about it earlier today. They're enablers. Meaning that in their mind, and this is just a perspective that was given to me from somebody else, and I can understand their perspective because I never had that perspective, so I can see where he was coming from. You want to treat people how you say you want to be treated. In turn, you don't necessarily want to point out things that you may see that you don't agree with or that are wrong. And in turn, you thinking that's treating somebody how you want to be treated, when in actuality, it's selfishness, because you don't want nobody to point out what you're doing, and you're enabling someone to continue in negative behavior. And it just doesn't have to be with things of a sinful nature. Just negative behavior, period. Because all things that are negative may not necessarily be a sin. We're talking about just negative behavior. Like I tell you, when you deal with a child. Yeah, I ain't got no kids, but guess what? I was one. So whether I have children or not, I can still speak from that perspective, because I was a child. Just like y'all were children. And every last one of us know that if you are, as a child, if your parents didn't nip certain things in the bud immediately, then you would continue to push that envelope, and that would be a behavior that you would carry with you for a long time. Some of y'all carry behaviors that your parents didn't stop, and you carry them with you to this day. To this day. Some of you have positive behaviors that your parents nurtured from an early age, and you carry them with you to this day. On the flip side of the coin, not just going to do the negative and not look at the positive, because some of y'all have positive attributes, characteristics, and deeds that your parents taught you from a child, from a small child. You still got them. So I use the positive to show that you got to nip the negative early. If you don't nip it early, Once they get to a certain age, you can't eliminate it. And that child may be like that till they're 45 years old. They're 50 years old. Because people get set in their ways. Once they get set in their ways, it's hard to get them up out of them. So when you see your children doing things that are of a negative fashion, you got to get that up out of them. You don't want them to get set in that particular pattern of behavior. Because some of you know how hard it is to break certain patterns of behaviors and thought processes you have now. And most of y'all ain't past your mid-20s. So imagine carrying that in your 40s, in your 50s, and then try to eliminate it and see how difficult that may be. Because you've been so set. Human beings are creatures of habit. We don't like change. We don't like change. This is why sometimes we fight to hold on to relationships that you shouldn't hold on to. And when I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about relationships with people, period. Because we don't like change. We don't like change. That's why people resist the word, because it necessitates a change. It necessitates you have to break the habits that you've been doing for however long you've been alive. And you don't want to break them. Ezekiel chapter 2 though. Verse 4. Make it 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Yasharal, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. For they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them. Thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though briar and thorns be with thee, thou shalt dwell among scorpions. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee. He sat back and told her, them niggas gonna buck. Don't you be like them. And he told you don't be afraid of their faces. Don't be afraid of their word. He telling them they gonna buck on you, man. I'm letting you know right now. Don't see them though. Don't worry about them. They ain't nobody. They a rebellious house. See, you don't want to believe that. See, we don't want to believe that. That's where that men pleasing come in at. That's where that men pleasing come in at. Because I don't want to make the people mad. I don't want them to say anything about me. Luke chapter 6. I don't care what a nigga got to say about me. 9 times out of 10, they ain't going to say it to me no way. They going to tell it to another nigga. They ain't have a lot to say to the master directly neither. They told it somebody else. He's the devil. That man ain't care. I don't care neither. What you say about me ain't gonna get me through no gates. I care less what you think and say about me. All I care about is what my Elohim think and say about me. I don't care what a nigga got to say about me. Feed them donuts. For all I care, screw them. They can eat them fried fish. 6 and 20. What we want? About 6 and 26. Yeah, 6 and 26. I'll give you 22 though. Baruch are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice ye in that day. See, remember when he say for the Son of Man's sake. Now, we already mentioned this here, right? They have not caused the reason to close up the breach. They haven't caused you to be able to die. They haven't shown you the way of shalom or the way to destroy the authority attached to chaos. Meaning, they haven't showed you how to mortify your members and die with Mashiach and be raised and be made unlike to his resurrection. Quicken, putting off the new old man and putting on the new man. You understand what I'm saying? They ain't showed you how to be able to do that. So since they ain't showed you to be able how to do that, when this man sit back and say they speak evil of you, we ain't talking about a nigga. See, a nigga been done committed all manner of sin, did some more wicked sour stuff. Nigga call him on it. Oh, they talking bad about me. Nigga, sit your cow behind down somewhere. Nigga, quick to say that there. Man, I seen that in the street. Nigga, you dead. I'm talking about, I was just talking about this other day. Nigga in prison. I'm in prison. A nigga in there for touching a little girl. They giving this man pure hell. They pouring urine on his bed. They slapping him around. They doing whatever it is they doing to him. They talking about they messing with me. Ain't nobody messing with you. Nigga, you evil. Yeah, okay, nigga in here for selling drugs. Okay, that nigga in there for murder. I don't know how that went down with him. This nigga in here for driving on suspended license. This nigga smoke crack. Nigga, you touch small children. Nigga, you is evil. Something is wrong with your brain. Ain't nobody messing with you, nigga. You mess with yourself. And that's the same thing like what Peter wrote. Niggas getting bust upside the head for their faults, and then they complaining. Don't complain for the punishment of your sins. He say it's better for you to sit quietly and wait on you. He say, why does a living man complain for the punishment of his sin? Don't you be complaining, you wicked bastard, you. You did it, you evil. Nobody can't cast your name as evil when you doing evil. That's an oxymoron. Because you a moron. But if you ain't did nothing, and you ain't said nothing, and they speak evil of you, rejoice. Your name written on high. He said, rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in Shamahim. For in like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. But woe unto you that are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full, for you shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, but you shall mourn and weep. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you. For so did their fathers to the false prophets. You can't be preaching the word and everybody love you. Everybody love you. Something wrong with that. Something wrong with that. Niggas only don't like you because they don't agree with a doctrine you got. Oh, I don't believe in that. That what he teaching on that. That ain't no, no, man. Nigga, they didn't hate them. They hated the master. Why did they hate him? Because he walked around doing good and lived it. He lived it. He spoke against their sin, and they couldn't say nothing against him. They hated him for it. Ain't nobody hating these niggas out here, man. Because niggas don't stand for nothing. A nigga who don't stand for nothing always gonna hate somebody who stand for something. Hamashiach stood for Yahuwah. They hated him for it. You stand for Yahushua, they gonna hate you for it. If I'm talking about if you live in it, I'm talking about screw what your mouth say, because you can make your mouth fry fish. Do you know what I'm saying? You can make your mouth run 1,000,000 miles a minute. But what's your life like, though? What's your faith like, though? How do these two things coincide and meet? And bring perfect harmony of the testimony of Mashiach in your mortal body? Because that's what you ought to be striving for. But you're striving for the wrong things. Because just like we talked about last week, the cares and affairs of this life is choking off the seed. That's why you ain't bringing no fruit to perfection. Because you worry about everybody else. You worry about your family. You worry about your friends. You worry about your desires. You worry about this. And your soul is in dire straits. If you was to leave here today, where are you going to rest at when you wake up? Because he said there's a place of righteousness and wickedness is there and iniquity is there. And he also said that the Elohim will judge the righteous and the wicked in this place. Where's your soul going to rest? Where? Is that even a concern to you? Do you even think about it? What about your children? Nigga don't be canned though. Nigga hear it go in one ear, right out the other. Gotta go right by to doing what they were doing. This your soul you playing. This is literally your life. You know what's crazy, Paul? Niggas take more and pay more attention about what they put in their body as forth as what they eat. But don't pay attention to the eternal life. As forth as what they eat of what someone teaches them when it comes to the word. Don't make no sense. Niggas want to eat clean, but don't want to eat a clean word so they can live clean. Nigga will physically exercise his body, but won't exercise the works of righteousness that are contained in the scripts. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This is how we live, though. We put more effort in what our physical appearance looks like versus what the appearance of your soul looks like before the master. We worried about what type of garments we gonna put on, how your head gonna be cut, how your head gonna be done. Yet you stand before this man with filthy garments on and a tattered head. Yet you look so beautiful on the outside when it comes to men. And that doesn't seem to concern us. I don't understand it. If this is what we say we want, then we got to be serious about that. Or you're going to come up with an empty reward. Don't let nobody take your crown, but yet you taking your crown from yourself. From the decisions that you make, from the company that you keep, from the moves that you make. Got to do better than that. Micah chapter 7 though. Verse 5. Trust ye not in a friend. Put you not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lie in thy bosom. For the son dishonor the father, and the daughter rise up against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are the men of his own house. 1 Kings chapter 12. First Kings chapter 12. I will say about verse 12. What we're going to look at is a little separation. Just a little separation. There's always been separation within the house of Yasharal, and it will be a separation within the house of Yasharal until Yahushua HaMashiach returns. And you know, as we dealt with the wheats and the tares, how the tares look like the wheat, but inside they black. Their hearts are black. The hearts are dead. It's filled with sin, full of iniquity and dead men's bones and all manner of uncleanliness. Because you can't tell if somebody's righteous. That's why he say discern between those who are righteous and those who are wicked, and those that serve Yahuwah and those that serve him not. How can you discern? How can you discern between the two? Because people can't seem to discern between the two. And if you lack discernment, you in trouble. Because the word is ra'ah for discern, and it's to look or to introspect or to perceive or to consider, to observe, to give attention to, or to distinguish. So you're supposed to be able to distinguish between the woman's seed and the serpent's seed. The Apostle John told you how to do it. He told you how to discern between who is of Elohim and who is not. He said, you are not of my sheep, as I have told you. My sheep hear my voice and they follow me. So if you are of his flock and he tell you not to do this and not to do that, then you would not do it. If you do things contrary to that, you have already shown you are not of his flock, as he has told you. Oh, he gonna tell me I'm a yah not. He can't tell me I'm a yah not. The book is telling you that, you douche. That's who's telling you that. That's who's telling you that. Yah's telling you that. But see, people would rather you do what's in Ezekiel 13 and speak a vision out of your own heart. You know what I'm saying? Because if you say what the words say, you know, they can't really go against the word. But they do go against the word. So I was just telling this, I just told y'all this before. If you're going to preach the word, it could end up being a lonely journey because people don't really want to deal with you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and then on top of that, you talking about a woman, she may not want to take on that life. Like I was talking about it earlier. Like Priscilla went everywhere Aquila went to go put in that work. She was about that. To go and labor with him. Most people don't want to, most men don't want to go do the labor. Much less talking about get a woman, take your wife and go do it with it, and she go do it with you. You know what niggas like to do? This is what niggas like to do. A nigga will judge how righteous and if Elohim is with you based on how many people listen to you preach the word, not realizing that the majority of all Yasharal rejected Hamashiach. You thought the whole nation was following this man? Do you not realize how many people had to be out there on Pentecost and only 3,000 people went and got immersed? What, you thought it was only 3,500 people out there? Oh, I guess you thought it was about 7,000 or 8,000. It clearly could have been, if 600,000 men, not counting women and children, left about a Mizraim, and Pentecost was one of the 3 days where everybody got to come up from Jerusalem, and it say men came out of every country up under Shamahim. Just in your own mind, how many people you think were there? 100,000? 200,000? 300,000? And only 3,000 people got immersed that day. I guess y'all wasn't with Peter them though. Only 3,000 people got immersed. Do you know how many people walked with this man? And by the time it came down for him to get murked, there was nobody there. They all left him. This man sent out people 2 by 2. 70 people. There was way more walking with him with the 12. There was 120 men out there to take Judas' place. It didn't even number. It didn't even tell you how many people stopped walking with him in John 6. We don't even think about that. You better remember 2 people came up out the wilderness, man. You better remember all them people that came out there with Gideon. He said, send them niggas back. Did take 300. Y'all don't need a lot. He just need a few. Just a few solid. Just a few solid. You could have a congregation full of wicked niggas. He don't want none of them. You could have a congregation full of 12, and that's all I need. That's how that man operate. He don't go by numbers. He go by the hearts of those amongst that number. He wants solid people. Called, chosen, and faithful. A lot of niggas called, but they ain't chosen and faithful, and it shows. 1 Kings 12 and 12. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the 3rd day, and the king as the king appointed, saying, come to me again the 3rd day. The king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old man's counsel, and gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy. I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips. I will chastise you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from Yahuwah, that he might perform his saying which he spake by Aiah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. When all Yasharal saw the king hearken not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? Neither have we an inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Yasharal, now see to thy own house, David. So Yasharal departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Yasharal which dwelt in the cities of Yehuda, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam said unto Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Yasharal stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariots to flee to Jerusalem. So Yasharal rebelled against the house of David unto this day. This is Yahuwah causing this separation because of what Solomon did. He split it and caused a divide. And that divide is causing Yasharal to be against David, to be against the king, be against the one who he chose to reign over the house of Yasharal forever. And this is why you see people against Mashiach to this day. Let's look at that. Matthew 10. Because this is the same thing that you seeing right here in 1 Kings, where shalom was not to be brought but a sword, but to cause division. 10 and 33. 10 and 32. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in Shamahim. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in Shamahim. Think not that I come to send shalom on the earth. I came not to send shalom but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter-in-law against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. And that's what you see here in 1 Kings chapter 12. You see eternal conflict. A household against one another. And this was of Yahuwah. So Yahuwah did not come to bring shalom. He came to make a split. But a nigga say, see, look at that JC talking about he came to bring a sword. Well, his father did it, you idiot. That's how I be knowing these dudes don't be really knowing the book like they say they do. How would you not that Yah caused this split? How do you not know that from 1 Kings chapter 11 that Yah caused the split? Ain't that what it say in 1 Kings 11? Let's look at 1 Kings 11 then. 1 Kings 11 verse 26. And Jeroboam the son of Nebat the Ephratite of Zerata, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zerah, a widow woman, even lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Millo and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. The man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahiah the Shilonite found him in the way, and clad himself with a new garment, and they were two alone in the field. And Ahiah caught the new garment that was on him, and rent it into 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith Yahuwah the Elohim of Yasharal, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give thee 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Yasharal. Because they have forsaken me, and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which was right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes, even as David his father. Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him a prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hands, and I will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give 1 tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen, to put my name there. So Yahuwah is the one who brought the sword and brought the split. So don't sit back and tell me that there ain't going to be no splits. And what was the split to do? It was to sever some over here and sever some over there. And now let's look at 2 Kings chapter 17. And you're going to see even furthermore why he called this split. And then I'm thinking we're going to go to Son and Hosea. I'm going to get everything. I ain't forgot Ecclesiastes chapter 3. We might not get to no respect to persons. But it's all good. I get to you tomorrow. 2 Kings chapter 17 though. 17 and 15. 17 and about 13. Yet Yahuwah testified against Yasharal and against Yehudah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the Torah which I commanded your fathers, which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding they would not hear, but hardened their necks like to the neck of their fathers that did not believe in Yahuwah their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes, and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yahuwah had charged them that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of Yahuwah their Elohim, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the hosts of Shamaim, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yahuwah, to provoke him to anger. Therefore Yahuwah was very wroth, very angry with Yasharal, and removed them out of his sight. And there was none left but the tribe of Yehudah only. Also Yehudah kept not the commandments of Yahuwah their Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Yasharal which they bade. And Yahuwah rejected all the seed of Yasharal, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Yasharal from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. Jeroboam drave Yasharal from following Yahuwah, and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Yasharal walked in all the sins of Jeroboam which he did, and they departed not from them. Now notice he say he left Yehudah, and I'm trying to remember the place. I want to say it's in Hosea, where it mentioned how Yasharal went astray, but Judah stayed steadfast and trusted in the Elohim. I know it's in another place where they went to war, but we don't want the war. Let me check Hosea. Let me see. So Hosea got what I'm talking about. When you look at all the tribes, you know, even with Solomon's drifting off, Judah always stood strong. And because Judah always stood strong, this is why you always see him bringing Judah back, but also because of the promise that we just read in 1 Kings chapter 11. I can't remember where the place is at. Somebody have to find it, they can find it. But you know, he say Judah stayed upon Elohim. But he always brought Judah back because of the promise that he made to David, that there would always be a light there. He promised him that. He promised him that. But a lot of us don't sit back and we don't really look at that division and that separation came because Yasharal didn't want to follow no way. They wanted the benefits of the inheritance, but not to do the work that was required of the inheritance. And it also show, and it ain't like that every time. It can also show that if you got a wicked man at the head, then 9 times out of 10, the people gonna be wicked too. I think it says that in the book of Proverbs. Let me see. Let me see if I say that in the book of Proverbs. I want to say that's in the book of Proverbs. Something along those lines. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Trying to see. Because you know the book of Proverbs talk about the wicked a lot. We have Proverbs 29:12. Now let's look at that. Proverbs 29:12. Proverbs 29:12 says, if a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. And you just sat back and you just seen that a prophet, he say if he done deceived them, then obviously he telling lies. A false prophet telling lies, that means everybody who listened to him wicked right along with him. Because if you hearken unto lies, you hearken unto the liar, the father of all lies. That means you hearken unto the devil. How else is not? How are the people up under you who serving you, or you serving? How they not gonna be wicked? Because that's what the book say. The book say if a ruler hearken unto lies, all his servants are wicked. We know how Shaitan hearkens unto lies. So guess what? Romans 6:16 on that point. Yeah, definitely not going to get the respect of person. But I got to get what Kira asked for, though. She's been patiently waiting for that for a long time. Romans 6:16. Know ye not that to whom you yield your servants to obey his service, ye are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. You know what I'm saying? He that commits sin is deserving of sin. So if your ruler hearkens unto lies, then it has no choice but for the servants to be wicked. So if your ruler is Hashatan and he hearken unto lies, and he that commits sin is of the devil, then therefore you are wicked. So if the person who teaching you the word is listening to lies, then therefore you gonna be wicked. That's what the word say. That's what the word say. That ain't what I say. That's not my personal opinion. Then he already told you that prophet name will not be written in Shamahim, nor amongst his people Yasharal, nor will they enter into the land, and the punishment of the prophet is going to be the same as him that seek unto that prophet. That's hard right there. Let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 13. Still hold 1 Kings chapter 12. Matter of fact, let's finish this. Let me get this Ecclesiastes 3 out the way. No. I'm gonna knock out Ezekiel 13. I'll close with Ecclesiastes chapter 3. This ain't but 10:30. It ain't but 10:30. We stopped at verse 11 in Ezekiel 13. Say unto them which daub it with untempered mortar, that it shall fall, and there shall be an overflowing shower, and ye, O great hailstone, shall fall, and a stormy wind shall rend it. Matthew chapter 7. See, when he get you all out the way, teaching you lies, this is why the master said what he said. Right here in Matthew 7. That's why he said what he said. 7:24. But we'll read 7:21 just on general principle. We'll read 7:15 on general principle. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. That's what he said you're going to know them by. Their behavior. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bring forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bring forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. Not every one that saith unto me, Master, Master, shall enter into the kingdom of Shamahim, but he that do the will of my Father which is in Shamahim. Many will say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Therefore, whosoever hear these sayings of mine and do them, I will liken them to a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that hear these sayings of mine and do them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And that's what he said. These men who coming in with this untempered mortar, they're going to have an overflowing shower come in, and it's going to rend and destroy that house. Don't let nobody destroy your house. Please, Ezekiel 13 and 12. Listen what he said in verse 12. Lo, when the wall is fallen, shall it not be said unto you, where is the daubing whereof you have daubed it? Hold on. Where is the daubing whereof you have daubed it? Where is it at? Where is it at? The word for daubing is your coating or plaster, your ta'ak. He says that you have daubed it. Where is it at? That which you use to build, and the word is tawak, and it's to spread over, or overlay, or to coat, or to overlay, or be smeared. What you use to cover yourself. Where is the covering that you use to cover yourself? That you use to piece together this house? He told you to accept the builders built by Yahuwah. They build for nothing. So what did you use to build this house? You didn't build it on the word. Because this prophet can't speak no word to you, because he's speaking a word out of his own heart. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will even rend it with a stormy wind in my fury, and there shall be an overflowing shower in my anger, and great hailstones in my fury to consume it. So will I break down the wall that you have daubed with untempered mortar, and bring it down to the ground, so that the foundation thereof shall be discovered, and it shall fall, and you shall be consumed in the midst thereof, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Thus will I accomplish my wrath upon the wall, and upon them that have daubed it with untempered mortar, and will say unto you, the wall is no more, neither they that daubed it. To wit, the prophets of Yasharah, which prophesy concerning Jerusalem, and will see visions of shalom for her. There is no shalom, saith Yahuwah Elohim. Likewise, thou son of man, set thy face against the daughters of thy people, which prophesy out of their own heart, and prophesy thou against them. And say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, woe to the women that sew pillows to armholes, and make kerchiefs upon the head of every stature to hunt souls. Will you hunt the souls of my people, and will you save the souls alive that come unto you? And will you pollute me among my people for handfuls of barley and for pieces of bread, to slay the souls that should not die, and to save the souls alive that should not live, by your lying to my people that hear your lies? Revelation chapter 2. He sat back and said about these women that this woman is killing the people that should live and letting live the people that should die. Oh, don't let y'all say it's somebody who should die, because he's saying the wicked ought to die. And they slaying the righteous. And we're going to sit back and read about a stinking hoe that like to live like that. Revelation chapter 2, verse 22. My apologies. Verse 19. 18. Revelation 2 and 18. And unto the Malachim of the synagogue in Thyatira write, these things saith the son of Elohim, who have his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know thy works, and charity, and service, and faith, and thy patience, and thy works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou hast suffered that woman Jezebel, which called herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. We already talked about that seducing. They out here deceiving. You got a lot of old dog-faced hoes out here deceiving. And niggas listen to them too. Grown men stamp them and ride with them. I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. And behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death. And all the synagogues shall know that I am he which search the reins and the hearts. And I will give unto you, every one of you, according to your works. Now this is the thing when we sit back and we think about the story of Jezebel. Jezebel was slaying all the prophets who stood for Yah, the souls that should live, but leaving alive all the people who served Baal. And that's what you got going on. And you could take that and look at that this here as you could take that as Babylon the Great, slaying all those who stood for Yah, but leaving alive all those who did not. This is the thing to get your mind and the heart prepared, that you got people who hunting the souls of the righteous, because they despise the righteous. Because as Paul wrote in Romans chapter 8, that there is no condemnation that those that walk in Yahushua HaMashiach, who walk in the Ruach and not the flesh. And as the master stated, if I did not come and do the works that no other man did, they would have not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sin. Therefore they hated me and my Father. That's what's going to happen to you if you walking right. Niggas will want to have something to say about you, but they can't say nothing about you that be true. They have to make something up, or they have to embellish, because they know that they have nothing evil that they can say of you, and it be truthful. They'll be bearing false witness. They be slandering. Truth be told, it's a blessed thing to be hated of men for Yahushua's name's sake, because therefore you be hated of men for Yahuwah's sake. Which means you'd have to serve and please Elohim, you have to upset people who don't. On every avenue. You can't make no compromises in nothing. In nothing. Because the minute you begin to compromise one thing, you'll compromise another. And it's just to be a cycle of compromising. Now you have some people, I told Will today, said it's the first time he ever heard this word. Some people are just contrarians. Someone that's just a contrarian is somebody who just likes to be contrary for no reason whatsoever than just to be contrary. And when I say that, not being just contrary to the word, but just be contrary to anything that you say or anything that you do, they got to be on the opposite end of it. Some people are like that. Most of us live our lives like that we're contrarians when it comes to the word of Yahuwah. Anything the word say, we must do the opposite. Why? Why do we break our necks to please sinners? Why are we even concerned with pleasing sinners? When you sit back and think about it, how retarded and mentally ill and spiritually ill that we have to be, that we are so concerned about making sure that sinners don't be upset with us. We have to really have a sick part of our brain and in our heart to be like, you know what, I don't want to upset this sinner. So I'm going to do this right here because I don't want, man, screw that nigga. I wouldn't care who it was. Who it was. Period. Do you know what I'm saying? Period. What does it matter? They going to be burning in hell and you worry about pleasing a nigga that burning in hell. Why? Because you got history with him? Because you share the same DNA makeup? But you don't share the same spiritual makeup. Because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. You have to understand and know that. These people are in the world and they love the world. And if you're a friend of the world, you're an enemy of Elohim. The law is clear on that. The nations were enemies of Yahuwah because they were friends of the world. And the things in the world. The things in the world that disgust your Elohim. And you want to be friends with that. And think he going to be pleased with that. And you seeking to, he told you not to make no covenant with these people. Don't seek their wealth. Don't seek nothing from them for no other reason than they're going to turn your heart from following me. This is why he took the kingdom from Solomon, because sinners turned his heart from following him. And the small things that these people can get you to compromise on could cost you your life. Because it could manifest into something bigger later. Usually sooner rather than later. Consider that for your soul. This ain't about you listening to me or doing what I say. I'm talking about do this for your soul. Consider what the word says and save your soul. You know what I'm saying? What a day is? The 26th? Or something like that? Yeah. in about 6 days, something like that, gonna put my dad in the ground. He can't save his soul. His time has expired. It's over with for him. And truth be told, this man been dead for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It's over with for him. A lot of people that I know are having people close to them they dying, which is a natural part of life. As we getting older, sometimes we forget. Most of my peers, we forget. Like all of us are closing in on 40, but niggas is dying. And when niggas go to dying, it causes you to think about this, that, there, and the third. Praise the Lamb, most of y'all ain't got nobody around. A lot of people around you that dying, but people are dying, and it's over for them. Sit back and think about this here. We worry about pleasing sinners that when they die, they going to hell. And you know they going. Based on what you know the word says. And you worrying about pleasing them. Why? Why are you worrying about pleasing someone who's marked for death? Because y'all ain't worrying about pleasing them. He worrying about rendering the judgment on them which they have earned. And speaking of that, back to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I just want you to consider, I don't want y'all to go to hell. Shoot, I don't want to go to hell. So, I wouldn't want y'all to make it. But you have to look at, I'm going to be honest with you, what stops you from going to hell, which will cause you to discipline your mind and your members to the obedience of the word, is this. Your respect and your reverence for the man who you claim is your Abba, the man who you claim is your father. Also for the man who you claim is your Malik, your king, and your master, and your ruler, and your prince. Not the fear of, which would be natural, shaking, trembling, but that healthy respect and reverence for who they are and what they stand for, that you would want to do those things that are pleasing in their sight, because to disappoint them would be so devastating to you that you wouldn't want to see that look of disappointment in their face, much less to see their wrath. That you wouldn't want to because if you have that level of respect for another person, you don't want to disappoint them. You always want them pleased with you. And that's what you have to move, because that's mean that you have a genuine love for this person. Because if it's just generated out of fear of, I don't want to go to hell, I don't want to go to hell, you're not going to hold on for long. Because a heart of faith can't be developed in that type of thought process. The discipline that you need to exert cannot be exhibited through that type of thought process. And it can't be on some old, I don't think this is a sin or this not. It's got to be, this man say you need to be Kadesh in all manner of behavior and conduct. So everything that we do and move, it needs to be set apart. It don't need to be nothing that the world is doing. Your Elohim is set apart. He said, be ye Kadesh because I am Kadesh. So you have to examine everything according to that standard of being set apart like your Elohim is set apart. And if something ain't spelled out, then you would notice my Elohim would not do nor participate in that. Neither would I. How do I know that? Because he's set apart and he commanded me to be set apart and to be set apart in all manner of behavior and conduct. And this is not set apart behavior. Therefore, I will not participate. No matter what it is, that's how you judge it. If it's not spelled out, you judge it like that. And that way you'll always judge based on what is right, because you know your Elohim is set apart. And if he wouldn't do it, why would I? It's simple. Set yourself apart. That's why your father can't, and Shamahim can't even come down and dwell on the earth, because this earth is not set apart nor clean for him to dwell there. Everyone would perish from his might, from his power, from the fire of his jealousy, because of all the iniquity that's here. So he got to cleanse it. So you have to think just like that. My Abba is set apart. He don't dwell in uncleanliness and ungodliness. Why am I? Why am I? That's how you get your soul saved. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 though. Along with them S's we talked about last week: suffering, sacrifice, sanctification, and I can't remember. And service. I get you. We talking about getting your soul saved. All that other stuff is irrelevant. We talking about getting your soul saved. You feel me? 3:16. Moreover, I saw under the sun a place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and a place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. And I said in my heart, Elohim shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. And I said in my heart concerning the estates of the sons of men, that Elohim might manifest them, that they might see themselves, that they are beasts. So hold on. He said, let me see what it say, right? He said he's seen that the estate of the sons of men. He's seen the estate of the sons of men. That word for estate is devra, and it's order, regard, or style, or manner, or reason. So he saw the reasons of the sons of men. So he had to show them that they were nothing but beasts. Nothing but brute beasts. Let's show you how he had to show you that you were brute beasts. Let me read verse 17 though. For that which befall the sons of men befall beasts. Verse 19, I'm sorry. Even one thing befall them. As one die, so die the other. Yet they all have one breath. So that man have no preeminence above a beast. For all is vanity. So he say, what happens to the sons of men happens to the beasts. What happens to the sons of men? What happens to them? Anybody know what happens to the sons of men? He told you that in the verse. As it happens to the beast, they all die. He say one thing befall them all. An unforeseen event or an accident, fortune or fate. That's mikra. That's what happens to them. He said they all have one breath. What is that breath? Let's go to Genesis chapter 2 and see what that breath is. He said a man ain't got no preeminence over a beast or prophet or superiority, and that's mothar. But let's sit back. Genesis chapter 2. He said the estate of the sons of men might be. He said y'all had to show you that you yourselves are but a brute beast. And that which befall the sons of men befall beasts. Even one thing befall them. As one die, so die the other. And they all have one breath, that a man might not have preeminence over no beast. Genesis 2:7. He said, you, Elohim, formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. That same breath that's in you is that same breath that's in the animal. He said he had to show you that you was a beast, that you ain't have no preeminence over no beast. Now look at this, Psalms 20. Let's see what he say about that beast. Is that Psalm 20? No, that ain't Psalms 20. I'm trying to remember this here, man. The Brits and the bridles. Escaping my brain. I can't recall the song right now, the number of it. But he sat back and he tell you in the song. He sat back and told you that don't be as a mule that need to have his mouth put in brits and bridles to control him. Because when you sit back and you look at it, beasts don't have no control over themselves. Beasts just do whatever comes to their mind. They go off reaction. They have nothing that restrains them. They just do what it is that they do. That's why he say he had to show you wasn't no different. Hold on, y'all. I got you, man. Go here to Psalms 32. Psalms 32. 32:8. He said, I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go, and I will guide thee with my eye. Be ye not as a horse or as a mule, which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held in with a bit and bridle, lest they come near unto thee. Now remember, this man just sat back and said, right, that he had to show man that that he might see themselves that they are a beast. He said a beast has no understanding. Acts chapter 28. Now let's look at how Yah showed you were no different from a beast and you had no understanding. Acts chapter 28, verse 23. And when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him into his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of Elohim, persuading them concerning Yahushua, both out of the Torah of Moses and out of the Nabi, from morning till evening. And some believed the things which were spoken, and some believed not. And when they had agreed not among themselves, they departed after that Shaul had spoken one word. Well spake the Ruach HaKadosh by Yeshayahu the Nabi unto our fathers, saying, Go unto this people, and saying, Hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and not perceive. For the heart of this people is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Be it known therefore unto you, that the salvation of Elohim is sent unto the Gentiles, and they will hear it. Remember when the master told them that it's not what goes into a man's heart that defiles him, but what comes out into a man's mouth? And he asked that when his apostles came to him and said, What does this mean? He said, You were without understanding also. See, when you show yourself to be without understanding, then you show yourself to be no different than a beast. Because the book says that a beast has no understanding. They have no insight. They have no ability to perceive. They don't have any ability to do that. He didn't give them that. But he gave them all the same breath. A dog, a cow, a cheetah, a jackal, a gorilla, a donkey, a cat. They all breathe the same breath of life in them that Yah put in you. That's how he could let you know that you ain't no greater than this beast. He also lets you know you ain't no greater than this beast because you lack understanding just like this beast. And he said it that way so you could have some manner of humility. See, we don't have no manner of humility. See, our humility is, and this is why he sat back and he said, because you can't say you greater than the beast when the beast got the same manner, same breath in them you got. How you greater than the beast? Think about that. The beast breathes the same breath of life that you breathe. Come over here to Psalm 73. Psalm 73 and about verse 19. Ooh, boy. It's almost 11 o'clock. It's all good. We put a lot in a little. We almost done. He said, How are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awakes, so, O Yahuwah, when thou awake, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. Listen to him. So foolish was I and ignorant, I was as a beast before thee. Nevertheless, I'm continually with thee. Thou hast holden me by my right hand. Now swing over here to Psalm, what it is, 92, a song for the Shabbat. Now remember, he just said that he was a beast before him. I mean, he was ignorant, meaning he didn't know, and he lacked understanding. Yeah, Psalms 92 is a good old, what it says, a psalm or song for the Shabbat. But I want you to read Psalms 92. And we'll look at about verse 1. And then after we read Psalm 92, we'll go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2. And show you why he has sat back and said that a man is like but a beast. He ain't nothing but a beast. It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yahuwah and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. He showed you his faithfulness when that man went up there on that stake and died. He showed you his mercies that morning when he got up upon the instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery and upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Yahuwah, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the work of thy hands. He said, who shall deliver me from this body of this death? He said, I give thanks to you, O Yahushua HaMashiach, to Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach, that he has destroyed. Let me just read that, Romans chapter 7. I'm quoting the man wrong. Because this man sat back and told you, son, you got the victory through the master. He said, you'll triumph in the work of his hands. Yahushua HaMashiach, he did the work. He said, it's finished. And he formed him in the grave and made him the son of Elohim by the resurrection of the dead and by the Ruach HaKadosh. Romans 7 and 20. Now you can triumph. So you no longer are a beast, but a son of Elohim. And now you can have that preeminence over that beast, which means you got to be converted. It's not Psalms chapter verse 20. We're going straight to 22. Romans 7 and 22. He said, for I delight in the Torah of Elohim after the inward man. But I see another Torah in my members, warring against the Torah of my mind, bringing me into captivity the Torah of sin, which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach our master. So then with the mind I myself serve the Torah of Elohim, but with the flesh the Torah of sin. You need to triumph in the work of his hand. He said, be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. You've got victory. Who is he that overcome the world but he that believed that Yahushua is the son of Elohim? This is the victory, even our faith. You need to triumph in him, and then you can overcome. Which means you're going to have to mortify your members and die with him. But oh, these men are not telling you this to close up that breach, to cause your banishment to be turned. So therefore, that wickedness and that iniquity will dwell with him in the place of righteousness, and he shall judge it. Come on back to Psalm 92 though. We in verse 4. For thou, Yahuwah, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the work of thy hands. O Yahuwah, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man know not, neither doth a fool understand this. That word for brutish is bahar, and it's just a stupid person. Cattle. Like I say, beasts. Beasts, at all intents and purposes, are stupid. Some people may be offended by that, but we know that some animals have some manner of intelligence, but they don't have no spiritual perception. 1 Corinthians chapter 2. That's why he comparing a man to a beast. You gonna sit down and preach? Can you preach the word to your dog? Can you preach it to a cat? Can you go preach it to the gorilla at the zoo? And he gonna listen. Can he hearken unto it? Can he get the understanding of the testimony of Mashiach? That's why he compared people to brute beasts. Because that's what a lot of niggas is. Just a brute beast. Just a stupid, foolish animal with no insight. And after this 1 Corinthians 2, we swing to 2 Peter chapter 2 and Epistle of Jude. 1 Corinthians 2 and about verse 13. Make it 11. For what man know the things of a man save the Ruach of a man which is in him? Even so the things of Elohim know no man but the Ruach of Elohim. Now we have received not the Ruach of the world, but the Ruach which is of Elohim. So if you got the Ruach of the world, or the breath of the world, you better believe you got the breath of a beast. But if you got the breath of Elohim, then you are no longer moving as a beast. Because remember, he says that man should know that he don't have any preeminence over a beast. But he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. Which means he that is all Yasharal is not of Yasharal. But if you have the breath of Hamashiach in you, then guess what? Then you would reign with him, which means that I would exalt you above all people, for you would be mine, because you have taken heed to my covenant and obeyed it like the law told you. Therefore, you would have preeminence. That's a little hard for people to swallow. Like an old UGK album, that's too hard to swallow. Now we have received, We have not received not the Ruach of the world, but the Ruach of Elohim, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Elohim. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man wisdom teach, but which the Ruach HaKadosh teach, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receive not the things of the Ruach of Elohim, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. How can the beast know the things of the Ruach HaKadosh? He's not spiritually discerned. But it say the beast got the same breath in it that the human got. But the beast don't have no understanding, and the human has understanding. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 10. You got a lot of grown men out here, they really ain't nothing but brute beasts. Got a lot of grown women out here, they ain't nothing but brute beasts. 2 Peter 2 and 10. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh and the lust of uncleanness despise government, they despise authority. Presumptuous are they, self-willed, they are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. He said, let's see that word dignities. He said, they ain't afraid to do that. They ain't afraid to do that. Hold on now. Remember, he said they'll speak evil of you for the Son of Man's sake. He said these people who walk in the lust of the flesh and despise government, they don't have no problem speaking evil of dignities. That Greek word for dignities is an opinion or a judgment or a view, an estimate of whether good or bad concerning someone. The same way we could sit back and look at, I forget the king, I want to say it's Asa. When that man came to him, no, it wasn't Asa. I can't remember that. I can't remember the king, what it is. It might have been Asa though. When that prophet came to tell him how he was wrong, he didn't want to hear it. That king wasn't afraid to speak evil of the judgment that was being brought unto him. That's when that prophet said, I have determined, that Yah had determined to kill him. That's why we looked at Eli. Eli did not, he was afraid to speak evil of the judgment that was pronounced unto him by Samuel. That's the fear that he had for Yahuwah, even though he didn't execute that fear by restraining his sons. See, some people have no problem speaking evil of the viewpoint of the word and how the word will condemn a behavior that they're committing. They have no problem doing that. Why? Because they hate government and they already walk in the lust of their flesh and the lust of uncleanliness. So why would they have any problem with that? He says, whereas Malachim, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the master, but these as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and they shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they count it pleasure to ride in the daytime. Spots are they and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you. He said they sport themselves. When he say ride in the daytime, remember now, the master said, let's just look at it. 1 Corinthians, John chapter 12. If it ain't John 12, it's John 7. Let me make sure it's John 12. I want to say it's John 12. He said they ain't got, and after that, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, he said they ain't got no problem riding in the daytime. They ain't got no problem riding in the daytime. John 12 and 35. Hold on one second. There we go, sporting. And when it says sport themselves, it says to live luxury or to take delight in. See, they don't have no problem delighting in sin. They love to do it. 12 and 34. 12 and 35, I'm sorry. Then Yahushua said unto them, yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while you have light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walk in darkness know not whither he go. While you have light, believe in the light, that you may be the sons of light, the children of light. These things spake Yahushua, and departed, and did hide himself from them. You ain't got to come to 1 Thessalonians 5. You know, he said we're of the day and not of the night. He said those in the night slumber and be drunken. Well, he's sitting back saying that people are living delicately in the light. They're committing sin and sporting themselves in wickedness in Mashiach. That's ugly. That is ugly. And he said they are deceiving their own selves while they sit. Pentecost coming, niggas sitting down deceiving themselves while they living in the delighting in their iniquity and sins. Verse 14, having eyes full of adultery, they cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls. A heart they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children. So somebody who ain't solid in the word, they around here lying to him. Just like the serpent got Eve, she was unstable. She wasn't solid yet. He beguiled her. That's what these wicked niggas do. Beguiled unstable souls. People who ain't solid in the word. A nigga who weak in the word don't really want to deal with somebody who's solid in the word. Because they know they can't run no game on them. So they want to find somebody who's not that solid because they know they can get over on them. Con men at the greatest and highest level. Epistle of Jude, verse 7. And then we swing back to Ecclesiastes 3. We got to get it ready to wrap him, even though we just approaching, closing in on the 2-hour mark of actual work time. It's about a little over 11:05. Even the Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Likewise also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, and despise dominion, and speak evil of dignities. And there it is again. Anybody that's of the flesh is going to speak evil of the judgment of Yahuwah, and they have no problem defiling themselves. And they filthy dreamers. Let's see what that is on for filthy dreamers. We know that I have an inkling. That would be what we read in Ezekiel 13. They telling lies and prophecy. Dreams to beguile with sensual images or impious courses of conduct. Prophets speaking visions out of their own heart with their own conduct. Telling people to do filthy things. Sitting around talking about things you ain't got no business. Speaking stuff out of your own heart. I see brews on all type of stuff. Niggas get mad. Oh, yoga's not evil. Everybody speak. Whatever, nigga. Nigga, you know what's funny to me? Niggas will scream by Hebraic culture only when it pertains to something that, then when it's something that's the other nations did and created, that they taken that you know is wicked, then they don't care about Hebraic culture no more. You know, you have to expand your mind. Get your stupid butt out my face, nigga. Them people worship their gods with that chakra stuff, nigga. Not on that. Not fooling with that. Don't tell me to be Hebraic in one breath and then be a hypocrite in the next. Nigga, if you want to be some old Eastern Kundali nigga, then go do Kundali then. And leave Yahuwah alone. Don't be around here sitting with your legs crossed talking about Om and all that. Nigga, serve the butt naked man. Serve the true religion man. That's what you do. But don't scream Hebraic and then mix in the stuff of the heathen. You doing what your forefathers did, nigga. You doing just what we read in King. You're serving the Ashtaroth. You're serving Chemosh. You're serving Milcom. That's what you're doing. And you can try to make it seem good how you want to, whenever you want to. You can tell the people you roll with whatever you want. You and I know what's going on. And that man going to come back with the payback. And just like you say, man, he knew you whole niggas from way back. And you knew that man didn't play that. And you tried them anyway. And you tried them anyway. Our people be playing games, think that stuff cute. That stuff ain't cute. Yet Mikael the Arch-Malachim, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, Yahuwah rebuke thee. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as a brute beast. And those things, they corrupt themselves. That's why you got to be born again. That's why he showed you this, that there got to be a difference between you and the brute, between you and the beast. Because the beast is showing you how, just screw it, Romans 8. I did let the book tell you. Romans 8. You just do it like that. Just make it simple. Ain't got to go into all that depth. Just make it simple. 8 and 5. And again, you know what this is showing? Difference. It's always a difference. It's a difference between Yasharal and the nations. That man told you that in the law. Said there's a guy got to show a difference between the Yasharal and the Egyptians. He said I got to make a difference between the two. It's a difference between the just and the unjust, the righteous and the wicked, the woman's seed and the serpent seed, the man and the beast, a man and a woman. You must be born again. The ruach and the flesh. There's a difference. Don't tell me ain't no separation or nothing. That means you don't know the word. When you tell me that, you don't know the word. And that's why Yasharal rebelled against David, because you were dealing with the flesh versus the Ruach. Because the light was in David's house, and the light was going to be left in Jerusalem. The light in him was the light, and the light was the life of men. What gives you light? The Ruach HaKodesh. So you see Yasharal rebelled against the house of David, because this man was showing you how the flesh will rebel against the Ruach when it seeks after doing its own will. And we ain't finished in 1 Kings chapter 12. Matter of fact, let's go back to 1 Kings 12 before we read Romans 8, because this Sunday just hit my mind in that we have to show the difference. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 25. We stopped at 20. Yeah, we read verse what? Let's start at 19. So Yasharal rebelled against the house of David unto this day. And it came to pass, when all Yasharal heard that Jeroboam was come again, they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Yasharal. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Yehudah only. But when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Yehudah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Yasharal, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of Elohim came unto Shemaiah the man of Elohim, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Yehudah, and unto all the house of Yehudah and Benjamin, and the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, you shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Yasharal. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore to the word of Yahuwah, and returned to depart according to the word of Yahuwah. You see, their men were righteous. They didn't go fight. They wanted to fight. But they had understanding they wouldn't be as natural brute beasts. The word of Yah came, they went home. He said, This thing is for me. Y'all go to the house. Them boy went to the house. You know what a wicked nigga would have did, man? We gonna fight them niggas, man. They gonna come back up under us. Let that nigga die for being disobedient. Then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, but went out from thence and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to sacrifice in the house of Yahuwah at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their master, even to Rehoboam the king of Yehudah. They shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam the king of Yehudah. Wherefore the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Yasharal, and brought that which brought thee up out of the land of Mizraim. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. And this thing became sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made a house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. See, right there, people got itching ears. So he went and got some of the most basest, wicked, vile people he could find, and he made them priests. And you know, people love that. Because that priest is going to speak a prophecy out of his own heart and out of his own mind. He's not going to say the things that will cause your banishment to be returned. So that's why niggas want the lowest of the priests. A base man. A wicked man. Jeroboam, look how bad he did it. He had to copy. Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Yehudah. This man made his own tabernacles. And he offered upon the altar, so did he in Bethel, sacrifices unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Yasharal. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense. That's what it sit back and tell you, and Paul wrote, I think, in Galatians. Let us not be desirous of vain esteem. Now, of course, this man was scared he was going to be killed. That the people will revolt and kill him and go back and to serve this man. So he said, you know what? Don't go to Jerusalem. Serve these 2 golden calves. Just like he didn't learn from what happened in Exodus 32 in the wilderness. They didn't learn from what happened in Exodus 32 in the wilderness. They sat back and they did it. He went and got some of the most wicked niggas who wanted to be teachers, who wanted to be priests. He went and got them, set them up, and the people were loving it. Even to the point where they said, we know tabernacles is in the 7th month and the 15th day of the month, but to stop you niggas from going to Jerusalem, I'll make my own. A brute beast. Because brute beast, and he's not afraid to speak evil of dignities. He's walking in the flesh of the lust of uncleanliness. He despises government. All those things what Peter just talking about, you just seen Jeroboam do all of that. And you see people do this. Romans 8:4. And all of that was from Yahuwah to separate the righteous from the wicked. At the end of the day, Solomon disobeying was for him to separate the righteous from the wicked. At the end of the day, that's what it was for. That's what it was for. People overlook that when they read that, the kingdom split. The kingdom split to separate the righteous from the wicked, to sever them. He told you he came to bring a sword. That's exactly what you see. Yah using a sword to split the people apart. Because those who were up under Jeroboam served idols. Those who were under Rehoboam served Yahuwah. Caused the split. Who caused the split? Yahuwah called the split. I didn't come to bring shalom. I came to bring a sword, to set a man at variance. And that's exactly what he did. In 1 Kings chapter 12. Not in Matthew 10. In 1 Kings 12. That's exactly what he did. Ain't that what he did? That's what you can read. That's what you can see. That's what you can perceive. According to what's written. We compare spiritual things with spiritual to see if those things are so. Not our own opinion. Our opinion means nothing. What does the word say? Romans 8:4, that the righteousness of the Torah might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. But they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. That's what you see with Jeroboam. But they that are after the Ruach, the things of the Ruach. That's what you see with Rehoboam. Those that mind the things of the flesh are brute beasts. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and shalom. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Elohim, for it is not subject to the law of Elohim, neither indeed can be. How can an animal be subject to the law of Elohim? That's the difference between you and a beast. He lacks understanding. He can't be subject to the law of Elohim. How can he? He's a beast. And that's why a carnal man cannot be subject to the law of Elohim, because he is a beast. Let me finish this epistle of Jude. We come back to Ecclesiastes 3 so we can wrap this thing on up. I think we got everything set for the respective persons. But we didn't even start the respective persons. So that's praise the Lamb for that. We didn't leave anything that would be loose. So we good. We finished the epistle of Jude. So this is how they corrupt themselves. So when we come back and swing to this Ecclesiastes chapter 3, when he say that which befall the sons of men, verse 19, befall the beast, even one thing befall them, as one die, so die the other. Verse 20 though, all go into one place, all of the dust, and all turn to dust again. All of us going to the grave, man and beast. And all of us were made from the dust, man and beast. He say, who know the ruach of a man that go upward, and the ruach of the beast that go downward to the earth. See, now I know this one here is what trip people up. See, they'll tell you, see, that's how you know you go to heaven. See, he say it go upward. He saying the beast go downward. So when we look at that, it says the word is mahal in this higher part, upper part. Then you got downward. And it's matah, and it's downwards or below. What's the difference? Ecclesiastes 12 tell you that the breath of man goes back to Elohim he gave it. The breath of life from a man goes back up above to the Father who gave it. But the breath of life of that beast go to the dust of the ground. Because he ain't resurrecting no animals. You got to remember, he breathing the breath of life back in you to resurrect you or to reanimate you. This is how the wicked get up. Because they're not being woken up with the Ruach HaKadosh to be quickened to life eternal. Because that already would be dwelling in them upon their perishing. But he's breathing the breath of life back into you to reanimate you, to get you back up. Whether you be righteous or whether you be wicked. Because we get to the conclusion of what that first verse is. I hope by now you would have already figured out what it meant. Verse 22, wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better, that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Ain't nobody going to bring you to see what's going to happen to you after you die. My daddy don't know what's going on right now that he's dead. He don't know that somebody around here beefing about insurance money that he left behind that ain't got nothing to do with them. He don't know nothing about that. He knew about it before he died, because truth be told, he spoke about it because he knew his people. But he don't know what's transpiring right now. He wouldn't know if he left all his children $50,000 apiece what we'll do with it. Who's going to bring him back to see that? He can't be brought back to see that. That's why he's telling you, whatever portion it is that Yah's giving you right now, you better rejoice in it. Because that's your work. Because once you go, you ain't going to know what's going to happen to it. But let's finish this last part, though. This beginning part. Well, he said that he saw the place of judgment and the place of righteousness, and that wickedness and iniquity was there, and that Elohim shall judge the righteous and the wicked. We got to see where that place of righteousness is. Let's see. We've talked about it loosely, briefly. Matthew chapter 5. Where is this place of righteousness where wickedness and iniquity is? The place of judgment. Where is the place of judgment that wickedness and iniquity are? The place of righteousness. Matthew 5 and 32. 33. Again, you have heard that it has been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, thou shalt perform unto Yahuwah thy oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by Shamahim, for it is Elohim's throne, nor by the Arats, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Well, there's the place of righteousness. It's Jerusalem. That's the place of judgment. Let's see how it's the place of judgment. Revelation chapter 19. Actually, Revelation 20. Because, hold on, it said that's the throne of the great king. Hold on, pause. 2 Corinthians 5 and 13. And then Revelation 20. Because if Jerusalem is the city of the great king, and the throne of the king is in Jerusalem, and he's sitting upon the throne of David, which is in Jerusalem, then that's the place of righteousness and the place of judgment. But let's confirm that this is the place of judgment. After we read 2 Corinthians chapter 5, we'll read Matthew 19 just for another witness. Second Corinthians 5 and 11. Well, 10 actually. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Mashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according that he have done, whether it be good or bad. Knowing therefore the terror of the master, we persuade men. But we are made manifest unto Elohim, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciences. The judgment seat of Mashiach is in Jerusalem. Let's see how. Matthew 19. And Jerusalem is the city of the great king. That's the city of righteousness. The city of Shalom. The city where he placed his name at. The city where he left the light for his servant David always, because that's the place where he chose to place his name at. The name of Jerusalem is the city shall be called. Yah is there. That's what Ezekiel was told. That's the city of judgment. The place where all shall be judged. 19 and 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? Yahushua said unto them, Truly I say unto you, that ye which have but followed me, and the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his esteem, ye shall also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal. Throne of his esteem is in Jerusalem. Matter of fact, let's just look at Luke, man. Luke 1, man. I don't want nobody to say we making this stuff up. Even though we already read it in 1 Kings, we just back it up here, man. Luke 1 and 33. 1 and 31. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahushua. He shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest. And Yahuwah Elohim shall give unto him the throne of his father David. And we know the throne of David is in Jerusalem. It's in Zion. Revelation 20 and 12. Because wickedness and iniquity are there. And the righteous and the wicked shall be judged, for there's a time and a purpose for every work. There's a time when you're going to be judged, the righteous and the wicked. And in Jerusalem, that is the place of judgment, and wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, and iniquity was there. 20 and 12. 20 and 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and Shamahim fled away, and there was found no place for them. Swing over here to Revelation chapter 6. 6 and 14. Oh, 6 and 16. And it said to the mountains. Hold on, that ain't what it is. Oh, there it is. 6 and 16. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Because wickedness and iniquity are there. Guess who was in Jerusalem bringing forth wickedness? The beast. Guess who was bringing forth iniquity? The false prophet. And they were in the place of judgment, in the place of righteousness. And guess who was also there? The people. Remember, he said he gathered them all up to the valley of Jehoshaphat to judge them there. Verse 20 and 11 again, book of Revelation. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and Shamahim fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Elohim, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. And those false prophets from Ezekiel 13, names are not written in the book of life. And whoever seek after the prophet who's been deceived, the punishment of the prophet will be same as him that seek unto him. Therefore your name is not written in the book of life. Therefore you will be cast into the lake of fire. Now that's tighter than them waist trainers these women be out here wearing. But you got to understand that, and perceive that, and understand that, and don't move as a bruised beast. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We start right there though. Y'all understood all that stuff this evening, man. Praise